What's going on, everybody? Good morning, I should say. It's Friday morning for me, August 6th. I'm going to categorize my vlogs like that. So, wow, what a great day yesterday. As I mentioned in last night's video, thank you so much. My mother and I, last night after the video published, were geeking out over things. She's teaching me analytics and everything, and it's just was really cool. And made me very excited about this and really looking forward to moving on with this to the point where now it's 9 a.m. and here I am making the video because I'm excited to do it. Um, so today I'm going to talk about some music stuff because looking through comments, obviously that's been the question I'm getting the most about my music history, who I like to listen to, stuff about my bands, so many different things I can discuss when it comes to my music history. So today I'd like to talk about how for the last 20 years, I would say up until last year, from like 2000 to 2020, uh, being a musician controlled my life. It really did. But so I'm going to get to that. But first off, a couple things I need to address. I always wear black pretty much every day, very plain black shirt. And more often than not, I'm going to be doing my videos here. So every video is going to look the same. And I think that's going to be a problem. I'm going to have to figure that out because it's always going to be black shirt, blue curtain, bathroom door. It's going to be what it is. So, also, what I want to try to get better at is talking to the camera. That's going to be tricky for me. Um, Let me try to change my monitor because as I look here, I'm looking at my monitor, which is where I could see myself. So in a way, I've been talking to myself. Um, so now I took that off. So hopefully I can be better at watching or looking at the camera. The other thing I want to do is ask you, the audience, a question. Is there anyone out there that knows the show, the Michaud Show, the Don and Mike Show? I would love to hear from you if you're a fan of both shows, but the Don and Mike Show is an old radio show. Anyone that's listening that is familiar with these shows, you know what I'm saying. If you don't know, it's an old radio show based in Washington D.C. Now it's become a podcast. The co-host split. Mike O'Mara is the co-host that went into the podcast world, and it's an amazing podcast. I'm a huge fan, and I would love to talk. I would love to hear from other TMOS fans. I would gather there's a very good chance that members of my mother's audience, members of Darlene's audience, knows this show. Hit me with some comments, please, and then I will do a whole episode on TMOS. Okay, cool. So those are my announcements. So the music thing. So real quick, I started playing when I was 13. My Pepe, Darlene's dad, that's fun to do, taught me, I think, the three basic chords, G, C, and D, maybe, on a old guitar that I actually have hanging in my wall right now. Back when I was 12, 13. And then over when I became a teenager, because of my cousin Ronnie, we started playing electric guitar. I started playing a lot of Metallica and Nirvana. I'm going to do a video on more of this, how I started deal. But today I want to talk about sort of like a psychological angle to this because when I finally got to a point where I was playing in bands, I at like 2000, I flipped the switch and I was like, you know what? I'm doing this for a living. This is what I want to do. I want to make money doing this. And that was the beginning of 20 years of absolute torture. Total, there's so many good things too. Again, all these different things I can talk about throughout the last 20 years, but um, the snake bit me in a big way, and I from that moment forward was just like I need to be in whatever cover band I can get into. I want to work in bars, weddings, whatever. I'm willing to play anything. Um, if it pays, I play. That's what I used to always say, and that came in very handy because for the last several years I had to play a lot of country music. So, but it paid, so I played. So, uh, but what happens is when you want to go down this path as a musician, uh, and a professional musician, meaning the goal is to earn money. You are going out there to earn a dollar for your craft. It sort of takes over your life. And what it did for me was it became priority. Everything else around it was secondary. And that means income. Let's face it, when you're playing 1 gig a month for $50, that's not paying the bills. So you need to still work other jobs, but it has to be able to accommodate your schedule. You can't work weekends. You always got to leave your weekends open. You certainly don't want to work a job where you work Sunday morning, because if you're playing Saturday night, that's brutal. But then as you as you go down your career, and if you start building up some experience, and now you're traveling, you need your weekends off. Sometimes you need a Thursday off. You know, you are totally enslaved to the music thing, and every other job around it has to accommodate it. Well, it's pretty hard sometimes to find jobs that are that kind of flexible. And what ends up happening is, in my case at least, it's been 20 years of side hustles. That's really what it's come down to. I've worked so many different jobs. I did the cook thing, the restaurant stuff. The restaurant world is very flexible. That's a good industry for musicians. Whether you're a server, especially if you're a server, that's a very flexible thing. Uh, Whether you're a cook or I was never a cook in a restaurant. I worked at uh, like a sandwich shop in Portland, Maine called D'Angelo's. I worked there a lot. Very flexible. I could just in a couple weeks advance be like, hey, I need these days off. But for the most part, it's can be difficult. And then you got to make sure these jobs pay enough so you can pay your bills. So now it's like, all right, well, now I need two hustles around the music business. Now I need three hustles. And there was a period where I was an Uber driver, a Lyft driver. That kind of goes hand in hand. I used to host trivia nights. I also started editing for what now is my business. Um, I played in a church band. I was in two bands, touring, and I'm missing a couple things. All of that at once, juggling all those jobs for the sake of being a touring musician. And I do the air quotes because I definitely traveled the country and world, for that matter. I've played in Europe twice. But a lot of it is a week or two out, a couple weeks back, weekends here, out there, and there was a period where I definitely did it full time for a few years. And that's a whole other video when, that video is going to be called, playing casinos for a living, because I've done plenty of casinos. So that's what my life has been like for the last 20 years. And the reason why I feel comfortable, excuse me, talking about that is because you kind of seen it. My mom has shared a lot of my road experience with you. She's been to some shows herself. She's a proud mom, that too. Uh, so I just thought it'd be cool to kind of show you at what level I was at a musicianship. Not so much all the cool things I got to do, but how dedicated I was to it. And honestly, how torturous it was too. It was difficult to have to balance all of that. Now I'm very fortunate. Through a series of events, I've kind of landed in this place in my life where now I have my own business, and I have no bands. I'm not playing anything right now, and I'm happy. I'm happy doing my thing, and it's really helped a lot because now I'm doing this too. This has become the new side hustle for me that supplements with my business. This is my different thing, and hopes that someday I can monetize and be able to create some good content for y'all on a regular basis. So that's all I can think of right now. These videos are going to be short for the most part, like this. I don't want to bore you and ask that much of you to watch 30, 40-minute stuff. With that said, you're going to be meeting Mondo this weekend, hopefully, who is my co-host from my podcast, Podlogics. Those might be a little longer because he and I are just going to be bullshitting and having fun, and like to see how. I'd like for you all to meet him too. He's going to be a character on the show for sure. So again, thank you so much for all of your response. I'm going through the comments and trying to highlight some stuff where people are saying where they're from, and asking about certain questions. I'm paying attention as best I can. So again, TMOS fans, if you're out there, Michael Mara show, let me know. I could talk hours and hours about that podcast. So that'd be so cool to hear from you. Also, look, I don't edit this, as you notice in video one and today. There's no edits here. I'm not saying it's always going to be that way, but right now, for the sake of time and cost, because I would, if I'm having anything edited, I'm hiring one of my editors to do it. So uh, so this is just bare bones. I'm going to export this video, upload it into YouTube, and release it as is. So you're going to hear me and ah and ramble on like I am right now, and that's just the way it's going to be. So uh, thank you again, and look, we'll do this again, and I hope you all have a great day. Thank you.